I've said this before, but the first time I met Alex, I thought he was already a founder and expected to meet him in a lab full of engineers and talk about his business, but he was still a student. And so the first conversation we had was in his student room in Cambridge, sat between a kitchen sink and a bedside table. And he told me that all of these billion-dollar autonomy projects around the world were going to fail in his impeccable Kiwi manner. But I was obviously intrigued. We came back about a year later, and he had raised some money from, I think, Brent and a few other people in this room. And so we expected a gleaming car like this one, full of sensors and LiDARs and cameras. And instead, he showed us this, which is a Twizy, which is a go-kart with an iPhone on top. But nonetheless, it worked. Amazingly, it worked. And we were fortunate to invest. And since then, you've heard, Wave has gone on to achieve some incredible things. And I think it's a real reminder that the companies that are going to change the future may not look like much at first. And it's also a reminder to me that in Britain in particular, we can be a little cynical about the student at the kitchen sink with a controversial idea. Wave has gone on to build a global team and to be a global success, but they're anchored here in King's Cross. And they made that choice, and I think a choice that benefited them greatly from being here, but also a choice which has benefited us all here in Britain. And if you take one thing away from the talks today and everyone you meet from the Sovereign AI team, I hope it's this. Our mission at Sovereign AI is to make that choice to start here and scale here easier. So it's my job to share a few more details of the specifics of how we're going to do that and how we work with all the other efforts, complement the other stuff government's doing, both this government and previous governments, when it comes to supporting AI. But first and foremost, what you should know is we are venture investors. We are not grant makers. We are not a lobbying body. We are not a policy unit. We are investors with a mandate to back the AI companies in Britain we believe are national priorities and on commercial terms. Venture investing is embedded in the DNA of our team. All of our investing partners have got experience in venture, and our managing partner, who will be announced, has been in venture for well over a decade. And we have a unique structure at the heart of government where our investment committee can, with full independence, make fast decisions on the investments we need. This is almost unique in central government. And this means we will move at the pace our investors and our other investors and our companies deserve. And as an example of that, just last week, we met a company that told us they were doing a fundraising round. On Monday, we met the founders. On Tuesday, we did due diligence. On Wednesday, we made a decision. And on Thursday, we took them out to celebrate, moving at a speed that Craig David would blush at. and that speed is exceptional. The Sovereign AI team is exceptional. In just 4 months, we have taken an idea and built a fully operational venture fund, introducing the civil service to vibe-coded websites, AI-driven CRMs, and a brand new financial instrument. It's an astonishing achievement, and I just want to thank Josephine and Will, who many of you will know here in the room, and Thomas and Konstantin and the rest of the team, many of you who won't know, for the incredible work they've done. Thank you. Now, we have put in these long hours, and we will continue to do so, because we recognize how incredibly important it is that we succeed. Because we are venture investors, we also know that many of our investments will fail. We will be held account to those failures by many of the journalists in the room, although maybe, Miriam, you've changed their mind on some of that. And we should be. But let's remember, even Charles Babbage worked on his difference engine for 20 years to never see it succeed. He was called by the Prime Minister at the time delusional for his wooden counting machine, and he started the spark of the computer revolution. Thankfully, our current Prime Minister has been far more supportive of the work we're doing here, and so our founders can be assured we know nothing great can be achieved without taking those risks, and we will share it with you. As a venture fund, we will invest capital for equity, and explicitly, we will invest between £5 and £10 million, flexing a little bit either side, into what we expect to be about 40 companies during the course of this mandate. We will lead rounds, and we will be a follower, investing alongside the best venture firms and other investors in the world. And usually, we will invest around seed and Series A, if that means anything to anyone anymore. But occasionally, we hope we can support a handful of our breakout AI companies as well, collaborating with them at every stage. Now, some people have asked, over the course of building this, what good that amount of capital is. What good is £500 million in a world where AI labs are raising billions and even tens of billions of pounds? As Alex said, Actually, that amount of money can change the course of the history of a company. But I say we are just the tip of the spear. When the time comes for the founders we work with to raise those larger rounds, we will be able to introduce them to the best investors in the world. And they will have a hotline to the British Business Bank, who we're already working with hand in glove and who have committed hundreds of millions of pounds more into the AI sector. But the real reason I believe we can be transformational is what we bring beyond capital. We've announced today that we're expanding the amount of compute we will offer to each of our investment companies to 1 million GPU hours, and we've already committed over 3 million GPU hours to some of the companies I'll mention. That's roughly the amount required, by the way, to train a frontier open source model today, a Mistral Large or a DeepSeek V3, and we're just getting started. And that's more British AI companies training and running inference on British models here, not using necessarily foreign technology, but working with our data centers in Bristol, Cambridge, and soon Edinburgh. We can help founders unlock invaluable data, which we've already done with our work on OpenBind, and today we've also announced a multi-million-pound project to build out data through partnerships with automated labs, providing AI companies in life sciences with critical infrastructure here in British Isles. We will directly procure solutions on behalf of government, giving the best teams a guaranteed customer if they can build to a world-class standard, and we can support you as you build your team. As the Secretary of State announced, we are offering a unique, rapid and cost-free visa and cost-free legal service to fast-track the best AI researchers and engineers in the world to come here, build and contribute to Britain's success. Sovereign compute, automated labs, unique data sets, government as a customer, cost-free visas, things we are delivering today. And this is just the start of the support I hope over time we can deliver. But we want to do much more. But even with the great support we've had from the Minister and Secretary of State, we know our resources are limited, and we must put them to work for maximum effect for our investor, the taxpayer. So that means we will have to make some hard challenges. We will have to say a lot of no's. So the companies we back must fill two criteria. First, they must be building a product which is either a critical building block or an application of GDP-moving scale within artificial intelligence. And secondly, they must have the potential to be a huge commercial success. And let's be really clear on the latter point, because this is unusual within government. We are focused on commercial success. Not because we hope to make a quick buck for the Chancellor, although I'm sure she would appreciate it, but because a company must be commercially successful over time if it's going to have the scale of impact that we want it to have. Our initial areas of focus will be on novel computing and chips, new model architectures, AI for life sciences, AI for scientific discovery, and AI for agentic security. Our first investments and compute commitments reflect this focus. With Callison, we are investing in ways to give AI researchers more resilience and efficient computing. With Primamente, we're supporting a team developing models with the NHS to scale. With DoubleWord, as you've heard, we hope to help make enterprise adoption dramatically cheaper and more efficient. With Cosine, we're building new models. With Odyssey, we're working on world models. With Cursive, we are making generative AI run faster and more securely. And we have even backed an AI company we can't talk about because every VC fund must have at least one in stealth. We've set all of this out on our website, which I'm praying is now live, because that would be a real failure of the Sovereign AI unit. But our focus is not fixed in stone. We're working with industry. We're working with our incredible experts in government to listen. We will adapt that over time. So if you are working in another critical area, for example, robotic supply chains, we are open and we will listen. I also want to be clear what we are not, because there is a version of sovereign AI that I don't think would work. Sovereignty is not protectionism. We are not here to replace foreign investment or ban foreign technologies. Countries have tried that approach to technology before. They have not progressed. No, we in Britain will invest in British companies, but because we believe that you, everyone here, can be global leaders. And when you win, you make Britain indispensable on the global stage, benefiting our wealth and our security. Now, some people, as the Secretary of State said, don't believe we should do this. Some people think we should be insular in our approach and modest in our ambitions. But just look at where we are today. In the first 3 months of 2026, British AI companies have raised £6 billion, more than the whole of continental Europe and 3 times more than we did this time last year. In the last 24 months, every major AI lab has opened or expanded their office here. In 90% of the cases, the UK is the next port of call after leaving their home country. And they join the many frontier model companies that have already been founded here, like 11 Labs in voice, or Isomorphic in life sciences, or Wave in embodied AI. And below the model layer, we're seeing exceptional innovation in the UK. Infrastructure like Fractile building an inference chip, or Olix and Photonics, Fluidstack and Nscale in data and compute, building on the rich heritage we have from Arm, Imagination Technologies, and others. Our country and the world faces many challenges in making the adoption of AI work. We are not blind to the disruption that such changes will bring. But ask yourself, in the software era of the 1990s, did Britain benefit to scale or to the scale that we should have? And in the internet and cloud revolution of the 2000s and 2010s, did we get everything we should have from all the strength we started with? I don't think so. This time, with AI, things must be different. And that's why this time, with AI, we are acting differently. So how will you know if we have succeeded? Well, like the founders we back, we've set ourselves ambitious and transparent goals. We want our portfolio to create over £10 billion of incremental enterprise value based here in the UK. And you will be able to measure our progress on that. We want to create a positive return over time for the taxpayer, and you will be able to measure our progress on that. And perhaps most importantly, we want Britain to be the home of ambition. And if you can find a way to measure those vibes, I am all ears. So, with that, if it appeals, you can find us everywhere online. We are Sovereign AI, and we are open for business. Thank you.